All right. Everybody, I am here with a Beyond the Wall, Within the Wall session, which is a kind of a light hack of Beyond the Wall that was the original idea of Maria Rivera, and that I've been working on to kind of capture a more Game of Thrones sort of dark fantasy feel with the awesome game Beyond the Wall. I am joined today by Brian, who will be playing Walther, the Castle Sorcerer's Apprentice. Kai, Yoshi, who is playing Kai, the wild child of the ruling family of the castle. Paul, who is playing Sully, the court performer who was recruited as a storyteller from the local town, and Ari, who is playing Tristan, who is the dilettante hostage playbook, but is sort of a ward of the court, for reasons that not everybody is completely fully understanding, but mysteriously sort of present in the court and as a ward of the House of Willow. And we're using the open Barrow scenario pack, adapted for a castle instead of a village. And I think they have come up with a bunch of NPCs and a bunch of locations, and I think we are ready to get started. In the days and weeks leading up to this event, these unfortunate events, there was a stranger in the end, someone who claimed to be a scholar. I believe that Walther and Sully are the most likely to be in the inn. Is that correct?
Yeah, Sally spends like all of her time if she's not working in the inn.
Absolutely. I love to see the performances they sometimes put on there.
Nice. All right. So I think Sully and Walther, you're in and we're going to do this as kind of an abbreviated anecdote, but you're both in the inn when a stranger sort of says they're just going through town. They seem, even for a merchant coming through these parts, to be a little finely dressed. Their style is a little less bombastic and absurdly colorful than you would expect a merchant's to be. It's a little more stylish and refined. What does this supposed merchant traveler call themselves?
I think they call themselves Jules, and I wonder how it's spelled.
Awesome. And Sully, what is a distinguishing, besides what we've already described, how would you distinguish Jules from other travelers coming through?
Well, it's rather curious because the fella, he ain't got no eyes, but he seems to be able to find his way pretty well. He's got one of those canes he taps in front of him, but he's straight in a line, straight to the bar, knows where he's going. It's almost like he's looking at you, even though you can't see.
So finely dressed, just sort of a wrap around his eyes.
Oh, no, you can see like the kind of pits where his eyes used to be.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, it's like he's looking at you, but there ain't no eyes there. Put me off at first, but he seems a friendly enough fella.
He says he's passing through town. I'd like both of you to make a charisma check, which means I want you to roll and see if you get a charisma or a roll and get an equal or less than your charisma. You're going to roll a d20. And both of you are fairly charismatic. This is a very charismatic group.
17. It has to be at or under?
At or under.
Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
I rolled a 2 and my charisma's 18.
I think I just gotten spooked by this feller.
What did he do that sort of made you jump visibly, causing everybody to sort of turn and laugh?
Well, I think, like Sully said, like the ability to walk around without any eyes, and then to see those pits just sends me off, makes my skin crawl a little bit. Actually, if you don't mind, I have an ability to detect magic. If I could just kind of reach into that ether,
You will see him again. So I'm gonna
that's fine.
I'm gonna let you hold off on that. We're just kind of going through an anecdote or a memory here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point you just broke.
Well, maybe what it is, maybe what spooked poor Walter is when this fella, he pulled out like a glass eyeball from his pocket and just popped it straight in the slot.
Good Lord.
Everybody saw you get visibly nervous, and he and several other people sort of chuckled at you. You're going to have trouble influencing people if you need to go back to the end there, Walter. The rumors will blow over soon, but
yeah, everyone saw my skin crawl when that happened, so it makes sense. Shoot.
But after sort of embarrassing Walther, he sort of buddied up to Sully and had a little chat with you. And said he was very, very interested in the old tombs underneath the castle. But he couldn't stay. Was going to be, but those tombs under the castle, those were a thing to keep your eye on, if you know anything about magic.
Yeah, and I think I chuckled at his joke there about keeping his eye on it. But yeah, them tombs. Ooh, don't like to talk about them. It's a scary, dark place down there.
Right. He laughs. He laughs with you, and sort of pats you on the shoulder. It's like you should keep your eye on those places. Don't get in trouble there. And Sully, after that, you're not one of the ones who gets sick about a day and a half later. But a lot of people in the castle do. I would like both Tristan and Kai to do a similar test on their constitution.
Yep, I rolled 15. That's over my constitution, so that's not good.
And how did you do, Kai?
I got it. Yeah, I got under mine.
Both of you get the fever. And both of you recover a few days later. And Kai, you kind of come through with flying colors. But for you, Tristan, you're going to be -1 to your saving throws because you're still a little trembly after the fever cuts out. You're still a little shaken by how ill you feel. So your saving throws are going to go up by 1, so they're going to be a little harder to beat. The person who does not come through the fever is the cook. Wanda 3 pots. Which of you do you think paid the last visit to Wanda?
I'll totally have paid the last visit to Wanda. I think she held a special place in my heart because she always seemed to give me just a little bit extra whenever I had a hard day of training.
Like, unlike your parents, she acknowledged that you were actually putting work into becoming a warrior.
Exactly. My mother just wants me to take up the family business, but I'm not a merchant. Like, I don't want to deal with trading and merchants and deals in back rooms, and that has no place in my life. It is not for me.
Awesome. 1 second, guys. All right. And that night before she died, when you came to see her, she went to sleep before you left. What did you hear her say as she dreamed?
As she dreamed and was talking about, I think she was talking about a kid that she had that she doesn't remember. That hasn't seen her in a long time. I think she was wondering and questioning where her daughter. Her daughter Tay had gone off to. She had run off years ago when Tay had just turned, I don't know, 14. And Wanda hadn't seen her since.
Your parents, of course, by long tradition, don't attend the funeral. Do you?
Yes. In theory, I'm of age where I'm not supposed to attend the funeral, but I'm young enough that I can sort of get away with it.
All right. Awesome. Okay. On the day that Wanda is buried, and she's placed into the tombs as a castle servant. She is placed into the tombs underneath the castle. I mean, not in a grand tomb, but there is an area where the family servants are laid to rest. Tristan, where are you? You've shaken off the fever, but
Yes.
you're still a little. You're not back to 100% strength. What are you up to the day that
I am actually down also in the castle cellars, but these are the dog kennels. So that's right next, I believe, to the crypts.
Right.
So I'm probably hearing the cook getting laid to rest.
What about you? Walter?
Oh, I think I'm there when she's buried, when she's put in the tomb.
Okay.
All three pots, me, we always just joke back and forth. And I always just say she's oversalted everything. So I want to make sure she's buried with a salt shaker, just so she knows I'm not going to let her forget.
And Sully, what about you?
Well, you see, I wouldn't be down in them teams because you know, I don't like the stench of death. I smell those places, and no, I'd like to, you know. And anyway, I think it's wrong, you know, remembering her when she's dead. Good old Wanda Three Pots. So I'm there. There at the tavern, like helping organise her wake, because that's how you remember someone's passing. You commemorate them with a good drink and their favourite food. And I know that Wanda, her favourite food was the triple stuffed roasted bird. It's a chicken inside a duck inside a goose, and you roast it 3 times. So I'll be doing that. I'll be cooking a roast triple bird for Wanda.
Hey, if you don't mind, I think that I overhear Sully saying this to someone, like sort of justifying herself. And I suddenly remember that I'm terrified of dead people, and that I'm going to actually give those salt shakers to someone else in order to leave with her, because that is definitely something that is on my character sheet.
Awesome. Okay. So
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. I'll you know, I'll put Walter. I'll take pity on Walter, and I'll put him in charge of roasting the bird, and I'll take the salt shakers down there. Just as a favour for him, then.
Absolutely, done deal.
So you're in the castle sort of kitchen staff, the area that the servants sort of hang out in and drink and celebrate, rather than the village tavern, where it'd be likely to have like a wake for. Is that am I reading that correct, Sully?
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of the official wake would be in the castle, wouldn't it? So it'd be in the castle kitchens.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, most of the people that Wanda knew were in the castle. All right. So you're there with you're bringing the salt shakers from Walther down, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Walther, you're sort of in an area near the kitchen. It's excessively warm, but the kitchen servants seem to just take it in stride. And Tristan, you were nearby, correct?
Yes.
Sort of where you can sort of see and hear the you know, people taking Wanda's body in. And Kai, you're there with the priest, and the designated mourners that your parents hired. And one roll die that I forgot to roll. And Kai, is this your first time in the tombs, or have you been down here before?
No, this is not my first time in tombs. I've been down here before. As a kid, it always seemed interesting to come down here and see all of the bodies that are here, and to look at the remains, and to imagine the stories that goes with these bodies.
And I think the most surprising thing about the mourners is that, of course, Lady Mabel did not want to come down to a servant's funeral. And she kept asking you, you know, why, if your parents paid for the mourners, do you need to go? But Lady Annabelle came down, and she's certainly sort of hanging to the rear, as would be expected, since the professional mourners are supposed to be up front. But she has an attendant with her, somebody who's visiting her, who you've not met before, who wears very fine clothes, and he's in a nice sort of black silk set of sort of robes and trousers, very nice stockings, and beautiful shoes. But he has no eyes. And unlike a lot of people who have no eyes, he's not trying to cover that fact. He's not using glass eyes or lenses or anything like that. He's just got a scarf sort of around his face, but his eyes are clearly empty pits. But most of the other mourners are not paying attention. They're paid good money by your parents to be there, and they're making a big show of crying and weeping at all the right moments. And the tomb door is pried open, and you enter, filing down with the mourners after the priest. And I think that's when you intercept them, Sully. So she's already been taken in. So you're in the back of the line. So you see Lady Annabella's there with some shadowy figure, but she's frequently with some shadowy figure that she's brought to court. I don't think you would recognize him right now since you're just sort of behind him in this line. But I'd like you, Sully, to make a wisdom check.
You're muted.
You may be muted, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, there you go. Yeah, so I'm like edging closer to them, like trying to sort of like overhear what they're talking about in their hushed whispers. And yeah, I roll a 1, so that's a pass.
And they're not talking to each other much. Lady Annabella is saying nice things about Wanda in decidedly disinterested tones. But sort of you turn the corner and come to the servants area. And the guard is sort of buried on one side in sort of like areas along the wall, and then house servants of certain rank, which would include chief cook, are buried on the other side. And they begin to kind of take Wanda to the place they're going to inter her. When you see the companion of Lady Annabelle point and gesture very subtly towards where the guard is buried. The old guard is buried along the other side of the wall. And you're, kind of in kind of a, a sentimental sense, you're right beneath the kitchen. And in there, Walther, you can hear the procession sort of pass beneath where you're sitting and stirring and helping with the bird. Tristan, you can see them go in via the windows, and you can hear the sound of them still coming from deep within, echoing sort of up the stairwell and down the hallways out into the courtyard. And as they begin to inter Wanda, you hear scraping as several soldiers start to pull themselves out from the little alcoves along the wall, or what remains of them start to pull themselves out from the alcoves along the wall, grasping for the weapons they were buried with, and pulling themselves up towards the mourners. You see this, Sully. What do you do?
Well, what's dead should stay dead, and certainly shouldn't be risen.
You say that out loud?
So, yeah, and then I'm gonna grab like the nearest person, like grab sort of their attention, and alert the mourners to this undead horror that's in front of us.
Yeah, you grab Lady Annabelle, who makes a very excited, almost theatrical scream. I would like you and Kai to both roll a d6 and add your dexterity modifier.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab in the roll for your party room. I'm gonna grab the red d6.
Okay, so as soon as I hear that scream, I will probably come.
And so as soon as
have a look at what's happening.
Walther and Tristan, as soon as you get in, I'll just kind of fold you into the initiative order. At that point.
Sure.
How did you do? How did you do there, Kai?
I got a 4, so I got a 3 + 1 for my dexterity bonus.
Okay. And what about you? Sorry, Sully.
I rolled a 6.
A 6. Okay. So Sully, you're gonna do whatever you want to do first, and whatever these things are, these corpses are going to go after that, and then as you sort of pull your way through the crowd there, Kai, you'll have a chance to go then, and then I think after that, if Tristan and Walther are heading that way, is that accurate, or do you have something else in mind?
I think I reckon I would fall. I'm worried about that too. Maybe it's just nothing after all. I'll head cautiously in that direction.
Yeah, you hear the screaming coming up from the grates in the floor.
Could just be loud mourners. The professionals are really good.
Yeah, that was a definite change, but
I'll head that way.
No, yeah, there's no pressure on you. I just wanted to make sure. Your brain weasels can tell you what they need to tell you, but let's start with you there, Sully.
Well, first thing I'm going to do is like my hand kind of goes down to my kind of belt where I keep my father's dagger that he gave me when I left. But then I look at these things that already been dead, already probably been stabbed to death, and then got up again. And I say no, and I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab one of the burning torches out of the sconces on the wall, and I'm going to poke at this thing and try and because it's been laying there for decades, God knows how long. It must be dry and desiccated, and try and set fire to it with this torch.
Oh, awesome. Why don't you swing at it and roll a d20? Add your act like you're adding your dagger. Let's treat it like your dagger.
Okay. So I rolled a 14, and I've not got any plus attack bonus.
Okay, yeah, your 14 is perfect. These things are not defensive attackers. So you've got a 14.
Yep.
You hit it. You clobber it with this the torch. I'd like you to start by just rolling a d4 to see how hard you hit it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to like club it to death with the
right.
I'm trying to get the torch to like catch it, because it's probably still wearing its kind of it's kind of military garb, like these old cloth kind of.
Oh yeah, it definitely
armors,
is.
yeah.
It's definitely dressed in sort of a ceremonial armor.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get that to catch.
Right.
So I rolled, when it appears, a 2.
All right. And it tries to not get caught on fire by sort of rolling away from you, but it fails miserably. I'd like you to roll a d6 for me, please. I think you've already got one there.
I rolled a 4.
A 4?
Mm-hmm.
It just goes up in flames.
Yeah.
And people start screaming and running for the exit as it sort of sinks to the ground. Lady Annabelle is right in front of the people running for the exits with her attendant who moves quite agilely. I'm gonna. All right, and I think so. I think as with everybody else flying away, one of these things is going to come towards Kai. I mean, the one that's on fire is on the ground. They clearly are not terribly sturdy once you catch them on fire or once you hit them hard. And 2 are coming for you, Sully. I would like what is your armor class, by the way?
My armor class is 10.
10.
I'm not wearing any armor. Yeah.
Right. All right.
I'm just wearing a flamboyant cloak and simple clothing.
So one of them badly misses you. What do you do to sort of keep it from hitting you? Was it clever with your cloak? Do you just sort of scramble away from it?
Yeah, I think as it kind of lunges into me, I kind of use my cloak a bit like a kind of Spanish matador, kind of like, hey, and then whoo.
And I think while you're doing that, and one of sort of like lunges through your cloak, quite adeptly, the other one just sort of slashes into your shoulder. You're going to take 6 damage from that slash, which is a pretty painful hit on you.
That sure is. That takes me down to 0 hit points.
Rusty old sword kind of sending you to the ground, just sort of screaming, sort of out of action briefly. And then Kai, one of these things is coming at you. What's your armor class, Kai?
So I imagine since this is a funeral, I'm not actually wearing my chainmail, so that bumps my armor class down to 15.
Gotcha. They still sort of don't land a good hit on you. Is it because you catch it? Is it because you block it?
Yeah, so like I think when they start coming at me, like I immediately grab for my short sword, and I find that it's not there because I'm not in my normal warrior's outfit.
Right.
And so like they come at me, and I think because there's all these other ceremonially dressed dead around, I reach over and grab one of the weapons from somebody else who didn't rise from the grave, and brandishing that against and sort of like parry and fence them back.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, and they bring it down just with a big. They're going by sheer force and clumsiness into you, and you parry it quite adeptly. It has clearly not got the skill it had in life, or if it did, it's no wonder it ended up dead. What do you do, Kai?
Yeah, so seeing Sully fall to the ground under the blow, it's quickly going, and then with one arm up with the sword to just glance the blow away, to knock it away as they try to bring down. I'm going to try to get Sully out of here, lift her up over my shoulder, like warm her over my shoulder, and help carry her out.
I'd like you to just make a strength check.
Sure.
To kind of grab and get her out of here without sort of getting intercepted or blocked by the thing she was fighting.
Cool. I got a 10, which is under my 14.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah, you've got her, and you're sort of lunging up the stairs where you intercept Tristan and Walther. Tristan and Walther, would you both roll a d6 and add your dexterity bonus and tell me what you get?
I get a 2.
A 2, okay.
2 as well.
All right. And Walther, you said 2 as well?
That's correct.
Okay. So you guys are together at the top of the stairs. And these are fairly narrow stairs. I think only 2 of these corpse creatures can get up at a time. And there were 3 of them still down there. And let's see. I'm going to have... I am suspicious of the number of times this is rolling a 5. Okay. I think there's going to be one attempting to hit each of you. As they sort of come up just as you're coming down. I'm gonna do.
What are they coming up the stairs like towards us? Or...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You're in Kai's arms, but as Walther and Tristan come running down the stairs, and you can hear the guard mustering to sort of behind you. Kai, this one misses you. What do you do to keep its sword from coming down? Do you sort of duck away and sort of keep the wall, but run it into the wall, or shoulder check it, or?
Yeah, so I think it's mostly just my skill with the sword that keeps it at bay. So like as it comes down, like it's being super obvious, like big motions that are coming in, and so it's just like the tapping the blade just at the right moment, so it comes down, and with just enough force, like I don't have to hit it hard. I just have to tap it to the side with just enough that it comes down and strikes to the side of us.
Right. Second. And one misses you as well, Tristan.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm I'm flattening myself against the wall as it comes from me. Nice. And luckily enough, I'm able to also then push its arm away as it tries to hit near the wall, but it's very cramped.
And Walther, one comes at you, but it's kind of having to go wide, awkwardly, or through. Yeah, comes at you up these stairs, but it's having to go wide to get around your friends to get you. And it barely nicks you. You just take 2 damage.
I have a question mechanically.
Yeah.
So because I am a warrior and I can take stances, and I feel like I'm taking the protective stance.
Right.
That says I get +2 to my AC, but I may not attack, but I may take a hit for a friend. So like maybe I could come in and like try to push Walther out of the way, or
Right.
not Walther, push Tristan out of the way, and maybe take that blow myself instead.
It's Walther who took the hit.
Oh, it is Walther who, yeah. So it's just the trying to get there, and I couldn't stop the blow before it got there, but I push you out of the way, and it comes down and hits me instead.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And what was the so yep, okay. So you still get hit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Taking 2 damage.
Cool. I know I have more HP than everybody else does. So
all right, awesome. So you shoulder check, or you sort of gracefully, even with a carrying Sully, you still gracefully block one, and then sort of intercept a blow aimed at Walther. Tristan flattens himself. It's all up to you guys now. What are you doing to either get out of here or fight back?
Well, even though I've been beaten and slashed and half in and half out of consciousness, I'd like to sort of mumble into Kaya's ear as like I'm kind of bleeding like all over her shoulder. I kind of mumble this kind of almost sounds like delirious kind of rantings, and I'd like to bring in my my skills in both religious lore and folklore. Yeah.
You're out. Sorry.
Oh, am I? Oh, okay. All right.
You're out. You've sort of. Sorry about that. Sorry, I should have said something faster.
All right, no problem.
Is your plan to get out, or is your plan to fight back, guys?
My plan is to get out, to get to the top of the stairwell that comes down here and just slam those doors down. They're slow and lumbering and big and obvious, and if we can get up there and close those doors, it will at least buy time to get Captain Grimwald to come down here and some more reinforcements.
So is Walter Tristan, or does that sound good to you?
Absolutely.
Yes, as long as Sol is now getting to safety, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'd like one of Tristan or Walther to make a dexterity check.
I was going to say, I think I'm the most petrified. I don't know what that means in terms of the dexterity roll. I think I've got my ancient holy symbol in one hand and my knife in the other, but they're both like non-operational. They're not really moving around.
So I can try to do the dex check. Is it for
you're also going to make a strength check?
Sorry, was that me? You said
Kai, please.
Kai, okay.
Ooh, I rolled a 1 on my dex check.
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I got a 3 on my strength check, which is definitely under my 14.
So I think between the efforts of the 3 of you, you're able to get the stunned Walther and the unconscious Sully up the stairs, and able to sort of get the doors closed while Captain Grimwald or Grimbald starts to sort of assemble and sort of make a formation to take care of those returned dead creatures. And I'd like to switch the scene unless somebody has 1 or 2 things they want to do. I'd like to go to the infirmary. Is everybody there in the infirmary with Sully?
Yes, definitely. She's great. She's gravely wounded, right?
Right. And this is a skilled infirmary. Sully, I'm going to improvise here. And you're getting back up. It may have been mainly shock, sort of taking you out. But a good bandaging, and then some of those herbs. I mean, no one in the kitchen or the inn has ever been able to make those herbs do what the house physician can make them do. Beatrice could never make those herbs do what the house physician could make those herbs do. But the herbs certainly are rich when mixed with honey, and whatever it is that makes them taste so foul is especially rich in foul. But Sully is soon awake. And I think this is a few hours later.
Yeah, my first words, like when I come around, like come back around, I'm like, I kind of peel back the kind of dressing and look at it. I'm like, looked a lot worse than it really was. Guess I'll have a good scar. Tell a good story about it.
I think all three of you know it is much better than it originally was. I mean, it was originally not a closed wound, and now it's a closed wound. Sully, you're back at full hit points, back up to 6.
And I think as you like look at your wound, and you can see me because I've got a bandage as well, probably like on my side where there's a glancing blow, and I'm like, it's a good story for the both of us. We'll have the scars to tell it.
And I'll have the story to tell how you saved my life, Kai. I owe you, friend. Thank you.
It's what any friend would do.
No, I don't think any of you have heard anything other than Captain Grimwald went back and sort of took care of the corpses that were shambling. There were not any others that arose. And a set a guard on the old servant's tomb, a living guard. There are whispers that if Beatrice were still here, they'd come look for Beatrice, but that her poor apprentice is a very nice guy, but not up to dealing with everything Beatrice would have been up to dealing with. Unfortunately, it's sad. No one wants to say anything tacky, but
I actually make myself scarce after meeting up and making sure that Sully's all right, and I'm really taking this hard. I feel like I did not meet expectations on this one.
Right. But Kai, through the steward, that Annabelle's friend Jewel is likely to sort of take point. He understands a lot of things about the dark arts and dealing with necromancers. And so when Sully comes to and is sort of cleared to receive visitors, what are the three of you telling Sully or talking to Sully about?
I'm asking her what she remembers. Did those corpses just stand up by themselves and attack?
No, of course they didn't, silly. I shook them, said, wake up, it's time to cut me in half. What do you think? Of course they just stood up. I tell you, there was one of those fellas with no eyes down. He was down there with a Lady Annabelle, and he was, I don't know, he was like whispering in her ear, and he was pointing at these things and that, and then suddenly they sprang up.
Whoa, he was pointing at them.
Whoa, I've heard rumors that Jewel, the fellow you're talking about, he knows his way about the dead and necromancy. If that's what you saw,
are you saying he raised them?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, bright as day.
Why would he do that?
Tristan tries to determine if he's heard anything about corpses rising from the dead around these parts before. Can I try a folklore roll on that?
Good. Use your
Yeah.
intelligence. And Ari, you know this, but just for anybody else's reference, when you have a skill, whatever I ask you to roll, you'll treat as if it's too higher. Whatever your ability score you're rolling, you'll treat it as too higher. So roll and tell me what you get, Ari. Or Tristan.
Yes. So I'm trying to go back in my mind and think about what I've heard around these parts. All the old wives telling stories. Have they told me about sort of anyone rising from the dead in this particular village or around the castle? So my intelligence is 14, and then I have a skill, so I'm trying to roll under 16 then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I rolled a 16.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Kai, who was your great-grandmother and who was her husband? Or rather, who was your great-grandmother's husband? The one that nobody acknowledges, who's buried in the tombs, but...
Yeah, so my great-grandfather that was buried there is Melbourne, and nobody, like, it's known that he's there, but nobody ever talks about it. Like, whenever they're talking about that pair, it's always all about Josephine, which was his wife, and nobody ever speaks about Melbourne.
So I think the distinctive thing is he actually is an ancestor, but when they talk about him like he's another spouse. He's referred to as your great-grandmother's husband. Even though he actually is your great-grandfather. Tristan, you know that Melbourne was, for a time, reputed to be a practitioner of the dark arts. And was said to have a lover from the city. Who was his partner in dark dealings. But when that lover supposedly accidentally, maybe not accidentally, killed him, your grandmother banished the lover and buried her husband. Your great-grandmother banished her lover and then buried her husband with wards set around him that prevented him from being returned. Now, this is not something that Kai might not know all these details unless Kai has been getting in trouble, because this is not something you tell. This is not a story you tell when you're inside the family. This is a story you tell about the family from the outside. So I'll leave that to you, Kai, whether you've heard this or not. It's certainly something that a story people would tell only advisedly.
In any case, Tristan relates that story now to his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering whether could there be any sort of connection between this new companion of Our Lady here and these old practitioners? Could we find out something about this companion of Lady Annabelle's? Well, do we know when he arrived at court? Has he been there for a long time?
I think Kai, it's only been a couple of days.
Hmm.
I'm like, he's brand new here.
And Sully, you saw him in the inn last week, but I'm not sure if you've sort of connected the two for them.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I saw this eyeless fella. Yeah, it's 5 days ago, 6 days ago. He came into the inn.
Wow.
Talking about the
Well,
tombs then. Keep an eye on the tombs down below, he said, as he popped his false eye in. Made me laugh at the time, but doesn't seem quite so funny now, does it?
He's only been here with Lady Annabelle for the last 2 days. So that means he's been around here at least a full 3 days longer. I wonder how he managed to get into Lady Annabelle's service, whether that was her idea or his.
Mm. Well, they seem pretty friendly down there in that death trap.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think we need to go talk to Lady Annabelle, see just exactly what kind of relationship she has with this fella.
I reckon you're right. I think I look to the other two and I'm like, I would go with you guys, but I mean, the information that I get from Lady Annabelle is going to be different than what you guys can glean yourselves. Perhaps it's better if we split up and maybe see what we can get separately.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'd also know somebody who knows lots of secrets.
yes, should we talk to the steward?
And if so, who's going to talk to whom?
I almost feel like Kai would not get very much information out of Lady Annabelle just because we're both like nobles and that type of thing of trying to keep it hidden, possibly from my mother. So I think I might go talk to the steward.
Very good.
Okay,
What about others?
I'll go along then, since I'm almost part of the family as well.
Walther and Sully, are you headed off to speak to Lady Annabelle?
Sully, you're in the infirmary right now, or are you just getting out?
I was assuming
Yeah,
you were all there in the infirmary, sort of with Sully, sort of.
Oh yeah, and Sally will kind of like, she'll scoot off the bed and she'll kind of start pulling on her boots and be like, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I can walk. And like she gets to her feet for the first time and whoa, and sort of has to put her hand on kind of Walter's shoulder and steady herself. She's like, I'm fine, let's go.
So, like I say, I think I've been mostly sort of keeping to myself in the infirmary, but not really talking much.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then you hear little mumblings out of me about, corpses shambling around willy-nilly in the castle. It's not right. And Beatrice's name comes up a lot in my mumblings. But I take note when people are sort of divvying up tasks. And wherever Tristan's going, I quickly try to, I don't know if it works, so if y'all have better ideas, but I try to get on wherever team Tristan's on, whoever he's going to see.
So I think it was originally planned that Kai and Tristan would head to see the steward. And Sully is planning to go see Lady Annabelle. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I absolutely came in too late to make my say known, and so you can kind of see I get crestfallen a little bit, but I just cast a glance after Tristan as he walks out of the room, and then I looked at Sully and said, "Let's get this over with, then."
Yep. Hey Walter, it's your damn fault that triple cooked goose got burnt. I left you in charge of that, and you left it to burn in the oven. So you can come with me and do me a solid. Yeah, do me a favor.
And this is like, oh, this is a pretty petite girl, unless I'm mistaken. Looking up at this huge man, and I get real red in the face, and again crestfallen.
Yeah.
Tristan, I think Walther, were you trying to get Tristan's attention for a conversation or anything like that, or just?
I came in too late to get it, but I am definitely interested in whenever I can next grab the man. I want him.
Okay.
Okay.
I think as you're heading out, if the two of you want to have a conversation, do you want to set that scene a little bit?
Sure.
Me and Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan, is that all right with you?
Yes, that's fine.
Perfect.
So I think what I'll say is Sully will be berating me, and I'll say, look, Sully, I'll be right with you. Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I understand I did wrong. I'll be right back. It's got to fetch something.
Yeah, sure. A lot can happen in 2 minutes, Walter. You can burn a bird in 2 minutes.
And I don't pay her no mind. I turn tail and run. But Tristan, wait, actually, one quick question: Is Kai here?
I think we can.
Excellent. Okay, so whenever I can get Tristan alone, I kind of sidle up beside him. I say, Tristan, when are you going to introduce me to your friend?
Oh, well, you already borrowed them a couple of months ago, so I'm not sure.
Well, there's borrowing and there's borrowing, if you know what I mean. I don't feel like we've been formally acquainted. And listen, Tristan, I'm going to be honest with you. I need to get some armament of Beatrice's, and I need some assistance getting sort of past some of her defenses against other people. So if there's any way your little helper could assist me, that'd be a real fine thing.
Would it help us in the conundrum we're facing now with the dead people?
Tristan, you know that Beatrice had abilities way beyond any magical person I've ever met in my life, and I'm not saying that because I was her student. I'm saying that's because it's true. So if we can get into a place that she kept secret, that she knew that she wanted me to have it, but she wasn't expecting to go. And so I don't think she passed on the key, which if I could have some assistance, I could definitely get past.
Yeah, I think that that sounds like something we could do. Since it may help with the situation here.
Listen, I gotta run. Sully's gonna have my head, but like when we're done conversing with our respective sources, maybe you meet me at dusk tonight.
Yes, it will take some time to summon him, but yes, at dusk should be good.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Tristan. I hurry after Sully.
Awesome. Tristan and Kai, where would you normally mid-afternoon go look for the castle steward?
So I imagine the castle steward mid-afternoon is probably relaxing a little bit, since most of the activities have probably properly been delegated or taken care of at this time. And so it's like the sort of like the surveying around and making sure like the other servants that are doing what they need to get done. So it's like sort of like a pacing the grounds type thing.
Right. Your mother's afternoon business is not as intensive for the steward as the morning business. What place that you're not supposed to know the steward goes to relax does he go? That's for either Tristan or Kai. So,
he's spending a lot of quite extraordinary amount of time in the privy when he doesn't have a lot of duties.
Okay. All right.
Could be that it's reading something in there. I don't know. So I guess could we? Let me see if I can suss out if it's there, and then
There is
just
definitely from the privy that your family's upper servants get to use.
mm,
There is a thick smell of heavy resinous smoke
right.
coming out.
Yep.
With you might describe it as smelling green.
Huh.
Smells like chlorophyll. You know, the way that that most green vegetables have that sort of certain thing in common with each other, that they just sort of smell green, or they taste green. No matter what else is tasty about them, they have there's a greenness to them. And that resin smells sappy and green at the same time.
Look, Tristan, you were always the better at the book learning than I was. I have no idea what that smell and that smoke is. Do you have any idea what that is?
Okay. I guess, is he smoking a pipe in there? But I think is he known to have strange things in his pipe?
Yeah, I think Tristan especially, skulking around the castle. Not no one tries to adjust their behavior in front of Tristan. Not being a potential heir. And so I think you know he frequently smells like this. You never see him carry a pipe though.
Okay, I think we go near the privy, and I wouldn't normally use that one, right?
Yes, yeah, you would be you would it would not be you would not get looks askance if you use this one. It's not in a part of the castle that you normally. I mean, this is frequently where business is conducted. I think even Kai is not brought over here very often. This is the boring wing.
Yeah, sure.
But there would be nothing askance about you walking into that privy.
Right. Okay. Then I will do that, and I will make a big business out of being in a hurry.
Yeah, Tristan, you walk in, and there's two sort of. One second. There's two sort of servants who are immediately stop talking, and one of them puts the pipe into their own mouth. And they're dressed in like very, very. I mean, they're servants' robes, but they're very luxurious robes. These would be the kind of robes your mother's or your father's servants would wear, or Lady Annabelle's personal servants would wear. So that you can one sec. Sorry, I lost the hangout window. So that and I think you'd recognize these people as Master Pinrun servants. And then all of a sudden, they've sort of got him sort of like hiked up on a bench where he's sort of like kind of his eyes are open, but his head is sort of like wagging and nodding. And he sort of like lolls up to look at you. One second, guys. Sorry.
Do you need to take a couple of minutes?
No, I just wanted to make sure this was not an emergency I needed to deal with. So other people are on it. So his tongue is sort of like halfway out of his mouth, and he's sort of looking at Tristan, like you've never shot ahead for business before. What are you doing over here? And it's
Oh, don't mind me. I just want to go. And I make a point out of relieving myself very briefly.
And his servant is trying to get him to stand up, but he's clearly either doesn't want to or is having trouble getting his feet up from feet under him.
Okay, so he's woozy somehow, right?
Yeah, he's definitely intoxicated or something.
Yes. Who among these people has the pipe?
One of the servants was trying to pretend they were using it. Clearly.
Right, I see. Okay. My lord, could I have a couple of words with you?
Don't really want to go anywhere besides just right here. Is it okay if we stay right here?
That's fine by me.
All right.
But could we have the talk under four eyes?
Well, Tristan's not going to hurt me. Why don't the two of you just go outside? Kai, are you going to try to slip in?
Yeah, I think like maybe like as they're as they're going through, like opening the doors, like I'm just on the other side of the door, and so it's just sort of as they walk out, they're hopefully not looking back at the door. I just kind of like slip around the door and inside as it closes.
And it's like, well, if if we two of you are up to something, it can't be anything all that good.
We are
repressing the desire to vomit briefly and trying to make eye contact with the two of you. But you can't really find your eyes.
Okay. I am just curious about this new companion of Lady Annabelle.
Master Jewel.
Yes. Well, where does the lady know him from?
Oh, well, I'm certain it's the city.
Or in the big city?
Yes, she says, what is it she says? Could one of you, or actually, Tristan, why don't you make a charisma check for me?
Yes, I'll do that. Will it help with etiquette? Maybe not in that situation.
Definitely help.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I rolled an 11, so I'm on my Christmas 17.
Oh, so nice. And the True does a 19. Well, he says he's a descendant of. When he looks here pointedly at you, Kai, like your grandmother's husband's significant other. You know that story, don't you?
The one about the rituals surrounding the body so it wouldn't rise? That one?
Yes, yeah, your grandmother had that done to stop
I do.
anything untoward from happening to your grandmother's husband's corpse.
Do you know why he's here? Is he trying to make a play for something? Does he just want to go see his great-grandfather?
Well, who knows? That's what I've not been able to figure out. Why is he here? But
I think the more pertinent question is why are dead people suddenly walking around in our crypts?
I just assumed that was some fancy of Captain Grimbald.
Definitely not. We saw them.
Master Jewel does have one thing in common with his distinguished ancestor. Neither of them has an eye between them. But, that's terrible gossip.
Interesting.
Terrible gossip. All right.
Well, thank you for letting us know. It's good that we know who these strangers are.
Certainly. Definitely.
Carry on.
If you'll send my servants back in, I'd like my pipe. It is 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yes, of course. Nothing until at least 2 hours from now when dinner gets started. Dinner proper.
The boredom, it threatens one's existence.
Well, I know that Walter sort of indicating that we should probably go.
All right. Let's switch over to Sully and Walther. From Tristan and Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all right, Tristan, Kai?
So, yeah, sorry to Kai. Yes, of course. My mistake.
That's okay.
Mm.
Sorry. Sully and Walther, you were going to see
Lady Annabelle.
Lady Annabelle.
Well, I've got a little plan that I'd like to hatch with Walter, like on the way there.
I was hoping you'd have something by the time I got back to you, Sully. You always thinking smart.
Oh yeah, and I'll sort of swing us away, like from heading to the castle, and I take us by those fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my plan is to get us some puppets. Bear with me, this is going somewhere. Get us a couple of puppets, and then me, being like an ordained court performer, I'll basically get us up into Lady Annabelle's room to say that we've got a little puppet show to raise her spirits after that terrible ordeal she's been through. Yeah, and then while we're in there, we'll basically put on this puppet show about telling this story of how this evil, nasty, eyeless man came to town and took the young madam in his arms, and terrible things happened, and the dead rose, and if she knows what's good for her, she'll tell us what she knows right now.
I love it. Every word. but one moment, Sully, who's going to play the dead puppets?
Well,
Could it be Ghost maybe instead of dead puppets?
oh, I forget. Like, and I pull out one of the salt shakers and I'm like, I shake it in your face. Like, I forget, you're scared of dead things, aren't you?
It's just the lack of motion. Like I don't like. I think I would have been fine down there if they were actually moving around. It's just when they're all still like.
I don't know. I'll punch you in the arm, and be like, big fella like you, scared of little dead things like that. Of course, yeah. I'll play the dead puppets. It's fine. I'm an actor, darling.
All right, let's do it.
So yeah, so that's our plan. We're gonna like get some puppets from the fairground, and then go in and do a puppet show for Lady Annabelle and get her to talk.
I don't think you have any problems getting puppets from the fairground, Sully. My one question is, has Lady Annabelle frequently requested puppets, or only when she's in a specific low mood, happy mood, drunken mood? Or is she just always a fan of puppetry?
Yeah, I think she loves puppets. I think she quite often, when the traveling kind of puppet shows come to town, she always asks for like a private performance.
I think also. Go ahead.
Nice to say, because she's quite prim and proper, Lady Annabelle, and she doesn't like to kind of muddy her boots like down in the fairgrounds.
Right.
And she just loves novelty. Like it's like it with the magician. She anything that's new and exciting, like that she hasn't seen before. I imagine it kind of flatters her to know that this will be the first performance that we've given of this particular puppet show. So something we've been working on. We want to share it with a real connoisseur. So something like that.
And it is nearing 4 o'clock, the close of business hours. Where do you go find Lady Annabelle? Her apartments?
Yeah, I think that's where she'll be.
Her maid is like, can I tell her who is coming? Who's calling?
Say it's the the storyteller and the magnificent Walther to see her.
No. No. We need to. This is show business, Walter. We need to jazz it up a bit. We need to
take it higher than that.
Yeah. Say it's Tottle and Brass Tongue, puppet show extraordinaire. The marionette marvels, Tottle and Brass Tongue. That's who it is.
Nice. All right. The maid kind of ducks around the door and opens the apartment door and guides you through to her sitting room. And she gestures up with her hand, extending a chance for Walther to kiss her hand.
Which I absolutely make a magnificent bow from the waist all the way down as low as I can and place a very dry but very tender kiss on her hand.
Well, our leading puppeteers, our only puppeteers. Can I assist you in some way? I understand this has something to do with puppetry?
Yes, my lady. I know that you had a very torrid time recently, with all that bother down in the crypts, and I thought a marionette show would raise your spirits.
It was quite a shock. Very disturbing. Who would want to animate the dead servants? I mean, now the crypts will be closed, and the quarters of the old family and the old servants will be carefully guarded. It will be a distraction from so much business that Lady Willow and I have had going. But you came here to distract me, did you not?
Let us whisk you away, my lady, to a realm of fantasy that has no bearing on your present situation at all.
My present situation is rather dull, as Lady Willow finds herself distracted by affairs of state rather than affairs of business. Why don't you please proceed?
Yeah, I think we rig up like a really kind of like sort of makeshift kind of like puppet kind of theater. Maybe we get like 2 dining room chairs together and put like a blanket over the top to make like a little kind of stage thing. Yeah, and I think we'll do this kind of puppet play that basically starts off whimsical enough, about this traveling like eyeless man who kind of comes to town.
The Baron Ruby.
Yeah. the eyeless Baron. Yeah.
Two on the nose, I say. Well, he's missing a nose, I say.
Okay, the noseless Baron. Yeah. So yeah, the noseless Baron comes into town and he wins the confidence of the fair dame. Yeah, and takes her like down under the castle, and terrible magics occur and all this thing. And then like it starts getting like a bit kind of like aggressive, like, and we're like, and if the fair maiden knew what was good for her, she would come clean and admit her treachery, like that.
There's a whole song number that's called "Come Clean," in which we play different dueling song roles.
Yeah, come clean, come clean,
come clean.
Don't keep it all inside. Come clean, come clean.
Do you understand what we mean?
Yeah, and yeah, I'm basically using my skill of intimidate through puppetry to get her to tell us what she knows.
Why don't you treat your charisma as a 19 and roll that?
Excellent, I shall. Hey, I rolled an 11.
I think she doesn't respond for most of your performance.
Well, that's to be expected. She's gobsmacked by the artistry of it.
And I think by the end of it, she's like, can we end the farce now?
I kind of throw a glance towards Sully to see if we should, break the fourth wall or not.
Yeah, we'll continue talking.
I think you're about 10 minutes in when she sends her maid out. And then, so you're alone with her by the end of the piece. And she's like, well, clearly you have a very good idea of what's going on. Not a complete one. But clearly my friend Master Jewel has raised your ire. He's coming back very soon. Why don't we have a very pleasant conversation until shortly before he comes back, and then you're going to leave, and I'm going to pretend you weren't here. Is that agreeable?
Well, first, you're going to tell us what you know.
My lady, and I take Sully, and I try to push her puppet hands down. My lady, we meant no insult. We were concerned that you might have been under an enchantment, and it
Achieved
seems
it quite admirably for people who weren't attempting it. She's clearly scared, but is kind of showing it through nastiness.
my lady, if you need anything, if you are in any danger, we are your humble servants.
You might be my humble servant, Walther. I would not use humble to describe the entertainer over there.
Her heart's in the right place, my lady.
Yes, that's what allows her to breathe and continue walking around. What do you want to know?
My lady, we couldn't help notice the coincidence of your new friend's arrival and the very unfortuitous events that occurred in the tomb. And some of my friends have expressed to me a series of connections that might indicate, and I'm using some language here to get around the niceties, but is your friend Master Jewel behind this?
Master Jewel is helping me with a bit of business. I'll be leaving my partnership to go start my own interest to the south. And Master Jewel is here to assist me with some business concerns.
I throw a glance towards Sully. There's a slightly awkward pause as I try to process all of that I've heard. And if she doesn't say anything, I will.
Sully, do you have a question to follow up on that? Whether through the puppet or not.
Yeah, I think the puppet will say, Lady Annabelle, I have much respect for you, but look what your actions did to my friend here, Sully. And I sort of pull down my shoulder and show her the massive sort of scar I've got across my shoulder. And the puppet goes, ooh, that looks like it hurt a lot. Are you going to say sorry?
I'm sorry you forgot to run.
And I kind of whisper in Walter's ear, but like, hold me back, Walter, hold me back. Or, Lord damn it, I tell you.
I sort of step in between them.
You want to know?
My lady, I feared enchantment, but it sounds as if you know what it is you're doing. However, I need to ask you. Just tell me the words I need to hear. That you are not behind this. That it is someone else, someone who can't seem to have seen what he was doing, and maybe I'll just come right out and say it. Tell me you're not behind this, and that the Master Jewel is. And that's what I want to hear.
Master Jewel has his own interest in the family's history. I don't inquire into what it is. I just ask him to offer me distractions.
Would you be upset if he was incarcerated, for instance?
If he were incarcerated?
Detained. Just a question under force.
These all sound very unwise for a sorcerer of so little skill.
I kind of blanched at that, and I dropped my head. It hit me hard, and I wasn't expecting it.
You are sensitive. Beatrice picked you for your wisdom and your insight. Your capability, but you have to understand, he has been studying the art for a very long time.
Master Jewel.
Yes, Master Jewel.
And you, my lady?
Have been studying business for a very long time,
I understand.
and the law. Do you have another question, Walther?
My lady, I'm still a tad confused at the play. You've sort of, we've both bandied with words, and I hope what I'm about to do, which is to seek justice for what happened in that tomb, doesn't upset you. But I feel like, as a servant of this court, I need to. I'll take my leave of you now, but I was hoping for more from you.
Seeking justice?
My friend has been wounded by horrors. That's not a justice. Someone did this, and I think you know who it is.
I was certain you knew who it was.
Well, it would be easier if I heard it from your mouth.
She calls to her maid and tells her to cancel her appointment with Master Jewel later this evening and to plead a headache. Then she tells you both that it's been a pleasure knowing you, and that if you have final questions, you should ask her now before she finishes her packing.
I think we've heard enough, don't you, Walter? I think we should leave good Lady Annabelle to pack her bags and leave and scurry away like the rat she is.
I maintain courtesy. I'm still hurt by what you said about my abilities, but I follow the protocol as we exit.
Mm-hmm. And as we leave, I'm going to take the two puppets that we've got. I'm like, oh, fat load of good these did us. And I'm going to catch them alight in one of the torches on the wall sconce, and they start burning, and then I'm just going to like toss it next to one of her curtain drapes as we leave the room.
Her maid scrambles after that, quietly, like, oh my god, no. Beating the curtain out. Let's do another 10 minutes. Come back, or just under 10 minutes. Let's come back at 8:55, 5 minutes to the hour, 8:55 Eastern time.
Perfect.
All right.
Excellent.
Hey, everybody. Who's back?
I'm back.
Awesome. Just wanted to check on Brian and Ari. I do love the classic interrogation technique of good puppeteer, bad puppeteer.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes the old ones are the best ones.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go around reinventing the puppet show for every interrogation you do you?
All right.
Yeah, I was like 3/4 of the way through that scene, and it suddenly struck me that shit. There's like a stuffed pig on the floor under the desk. I'll just scramble under the desk and get it. And there it was.
I saw you lean down, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense now," and it's awesome. All right, Brian, are you there? Ari, I see you just come off the mute.
Yep, I'm there.
And Brian, and you, Brian. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody come back on, but no, he's still on mute. So I think I wanted to, while we're waiting on Brian, I think what I wanted to do is sort of move you guys into the evening, talk a little bit about what kind of prep you've made and where you're sort of going to hunt the necromancer or him, or find out what he's doing, and then sort of spend some time on a closing scene, and then sort of wrap that up. Does that sound good? Awesome.
So me, out of character, this is what I think, and whether or not we want to have the short little thing in character about it is
right.
It's totally a fight in the tomb, because why else raise bodies to get people to not want to go down there? That's obviously where the necromancer is trying to go. So.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Ari, do you have any thoughts or?
Yeah. So Walter wanted to try to retrieve something from his dead mistress, right? Could we do that before evening?
Yeah, absolutely, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I really like the little bit of fiction I put in about that whispering oak. So I quite like to go and ask the whispering oak where this necromancer can be found, and maybe get a bit of magical realism kind of thing going on there.
So what one thing would you like to do, Kai, that sort of gets you ready for that trip down to the tomb?
I think for the trip down to the tomb, if I know I'm going to be battling a necromancer type thing, I think just getting some sort of prep that's going on, and maybe that's going with Walther to the tower, to Beatrice's tower, because maybe there's something there that can help with that battle.
Okay.
Sounds good. And Sully, if you don't mind, I'd like to actually use the mud around that tree. If it's kind of a marshy mud, I feel like it could be useful in my magic.
Awesome.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, I'll bring in a little bit of that mud as well, actually.
All right. So I'd like to have the three of you, and we're just going to keep this kind of abstract. So I'm going to have you spend a lot of the evening, Tristan, working on that ritual to summon your assistant to see if it can get you into the tower. And then I would like to hear what Kai is looking for and what Walther is looking for. And then we'll see if they get that. And then I want to have you talk to the tree real quickly. But let's have you roll that ritual there.
Yes, I'll do that.
And then give me a 2-sentence paint the picture of what this ritual looks like.
So
actually, real fast, is it possible that I could, while he's summoning his friend, could I go ahead and cast Second Sight? I want to actually, I don't know if I'm going to even let Tristan know that I'm doing this, but I want to see what it is that he's communicating with.
Okay, that sounds good. So let's start with Tristan.
Yes. So I'm going to tag along to to the oak, and at the oak I will pick up a bit of that mud, and I will sort of knead it in my hands, and it looks like I'm fashioning a small sort of ugly figure of some sort from that clay. And I'm also bringing that figure to a little brook of clear water that runs right by that tree, and I'm submerging it into the water.
Okay.
And then I'm speaking some sort of weird word. That doesn't sound like any language you would normally hear.
Perfect.
Are you alone, Tristan, or are you allowing me to accompany you?
Yeah, I'm allowing you to accompany me because you know about this thing.
Right.
While you're
Kai
speaking,
is also there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
While you're speaking the enchantment, I take the mud that I have and I rub it into my eyes, and I actually open my eyes once it's rubbed in, and I feel that burn, and I'm hoping to be able to see clearly to your friend. If Kai wants, I'll do the same for her and see if the magic works, but I'm not going to force her.
Yeah, I just like shake you off, like I'm like, like I've seen Tristan do some stuff, and like this is not my jam.
Totally understandable.
Yeah,
Tristan, why don't you check intelligence real quick?
Yes. I rolled a 10, so that's below.
Awesome. And why don't you check intelligence as well there, Walther?
Oof, missed it.
Okay. Tristan, normally when your servant is kind of constructed out of the air in the trembling in the earth and the sounds coming from the castle, it is invisible all the way, and you just sort of know where it is. And you did everything correct. But for some reason, and Walther, I'm assuming you don't want to give up magic for the day. Is that correct?
I'd prefer not to know.
Okay.
Okay, then it goes wrong.
Instead, what you see constructed before you, sort of with its long arms, far longer than its floating sort of wispy form, and big shoulders, and gigantic eyes, both in the front and the back of its head, mouthless, and its long arms trailing onto the ground, completely visible to you, and, well, clearly visible to Walther, and clearly visible to Kai, and supposedly visible to, and this was not what it was like when you summoned it, but then shortly after, something happened. and it just became.
Well, I'm a bit too late. I'm starting to think about what has happened here earlier, because those dead people walking, they could have they pierced the veil, right? So who knows what becomes visible or not when that happens.
Right. But your unseen servant is very, very seen now. But you hear its same voice go, that you can now tell does not come from a moving mouth. Master, what do you wish?
Can I interject just clarification? Can Walther see it?
Oh, Walther can see it. You can see it.
Cool. So like I really like the idea of like I can see it, like the thing worked, and I'm just like, Walther, I can see it too. I don't think it was your spell.
I've got blood like flowing down my face. It's burning my eyes so hard.
Well, this is not how that construct is supposed to work. Aren't we trying to get it in somewhere where it wouldn't be seen?
It is night.
Mm-hmm. It is night.
And did you finish the ritual near the tower?
I'm assuming I finished it close to the oak, actually.
Okay.
I think they're at one of the same place. Like the oak is on a side of the castle that is very near to the well tower.
Right.
So you can do your thing where you normally would, I think you can finish Walther's plan in order to keep this sort of abbreviated. Yep. But your servant is definitely seen or seeable. You don't know who's close enough to see it. Walther, what one thing were you looking for from the tower before you have to rendezvous with Sully back at the entrance to the crypts?
Beatrice was very good with liquids. That's why she had the well tower in the first place. I'm looking for a vial of the essence of death. I think I want to put these things to rest for permanence.
Okay. 1 second. I'm going to get the die roller out real quick.
Also, I figure since one of the only thing I got out of the tower before, the one moment I was able to get in there was a potion that rejuvenates. I feel like she probably has its polar opposite.
Oh, she does have its polar opposite. You can tell by the glyph she used to seal it, and you have it.
Excellent.
You don't have much. You have enough to maybe toss on 1 or 2, and you're not sure how powerful it will be.
I like the variability.
But and Kai, what were you looking for?
Well, despite the fact that Beatrice was not necessarily the best at duels, I know that there's often these charms that get made that will take the brunt of incoming magical forces, and I'm hoping that maybe she has one or something like that is keeping her tower safe, that maybe I can take and weave into around my neck or underneath my cloak.
There's definitely a chain of shields, like of shield charms. Why don't you roll wisdom?
Sure, let's do that. Come on. I got a 6, which is underneath my 11.
You've got 4 of these shield charms. But you know that each time you redirect a blow to yourself with one of them will break. And it will hurt you more than it would hurt the intended target. But essentially it's giving you the benefit of a protective stance without needing to take a protective stance.
Cool. I will totally take those. And I think you see me like because they're all there's 4 of them, like placing them on different parts of my body, like one like wrapped around my wrist, each wrist, and then maybe around my calves or something like that.
Nice. Sully, what was your question for the tree?
Well, it's not a question so much as a little song, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd like to go down to the old Whispering Oak, you know, and I imagine like there's all these kind of like fireflies, like kind of like, you know, around its kind of trunk. And I kind of get that, and I find like one of these kind of little holes, like little knots in the tree. And I sort of crouch down, put my sort of face to it, and I'll sing it a little song. And I'll sing, "Oh, Whispering Oak, oh, you wise old tree, I'm here singing to you, so you will speak to me. We're going down to the tombs. Oh, yes, you heard what I said. Tell us how to defeat the no-eyed necromancer and his shambling undead." And then I just hug the tree. I just hug the big. I can barely get my arms around like a quarter of its trunk. Then I just and hug it with my ear pressed up to it, waiting for it to speak to me.
And it goes like, he's not after the shambling undead. They're a distraction to keep the rest of the tomb well guarded, and the family portions. The rest of the tomb well guarded, but the doors open so that the guards can come and go. And the family tomb unguarded.
And I'm going to plant a big kiss on like the trunk of this tree. I love you, Whispering Oak. Thank you for looking after me, I'll say.
I love you too, Scully. And if there's one thing you should always know, it's that necromancers are always older than they look. I think as you guys head down, and I'm gonna narrate just to sort of move us along. As you head down, you see Lady Annabelle's carriage pulling up to the castle, and her maids hustling trunks inside, along with her secretary. And as you head down, you find the guards. The tomb door is open the way the guards would normally keep it while they're doing rotations. But the guards are all asleep, deeply, deeply asleep. Captain Grimbold is both injured and asleep. And not by something that looks like a cut, something that seems like the wounds seem to have come from somewhere strange, like a sickness. And deeper in the tomb, you see a flickering point of light. It starts to multiply as someone is clearly lighting multiple candles and spacing them out. And the chanting begins.
Have we had the presence of mind to arm ourselves?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have weapons, I will assume you have them with you.
Yeah.
You see the chanting and the candles lit towards the bottom of these stairs. Where do you go and what do you do?
Well, we need to find the family tomb, which is unguarded, and enter through that way. The whispering tree told me it was so.
This is definitely where you were seeing.
Yeah. And these candles are they close by?
They're down a set of stairs,
Mm.
but they are on the family side of the.
Yep.
Of the
Let's go and blow out some candles, I say.
And I kind of like look at them and I'm like, this is my family's tomb. If you want us to blow out some candles, that's fine. But and then like I sort of just like do that little bounce because I'm wearing chainmail. I'm like, I can't go there quietly. If you three, and like, because looking at the rest of you all have much more capabilities of sneaking in there. I can come down there and make a distraction and do something that maybe will give you an opportunity. But there's no way I'm sneaking up on that.
But we need you. We need you there, Kai. You're like our lucky charm.
I'll be there. But maybe I will follow in a minute to let you guys go ahead and take position. And then, because I cannot, if as soon as I walk down these stairs, they will know I am coming.
So you're going to give them, what you're proposing is to kind of give them about a minute to go ahead and sort of find some hiding spot.
Yeah.
And then you come down charging aggressively. We'll figure that out when that.
Yeah, exactly. I figure in chainmail, there's no way I'm going to walk quietly, period. So like I might as well be the noisy distraction anyways.
Sounds good.
The three of you are attempting to sneak up. Does that sound right about what you're doing?
Yes, Tristan is sneaking down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty light on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Scully?
Yeah. I'm gonna sneak down too, keeping in the shadows.
Why don't all three of you make a dexterity check for me? And remember, you have those fortune points that you can spend to help each other.
Is that the 1d6 or?
That is just you're just going to roll a d20 and try to get dexterity or under.
Okay. Got it.
I failed. I rolled a 16 over 10.
You can re-roll with a fortune point if you
can
want.
spend a fortune point to roll. How did you do?
I rolled a 10, so that's okay by me.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend the fortune point to try to re-roll, or you can just sort of go with a failure, Scully. What do you want to do?
No, I don't want to get caught. I'm going to spend a fortune point.
Spend that fortune point and re-roll.
A 3. Fantastic. Yeah, maybe I kind of I like step on one of the steps and like it kick like a pebble like down the stairs and it kind of doink 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 bounces. I'm like, oh! Keep quiet and then keep to the shadows.
But mice, rats, all sorts of things upset pebbles and cause scraping sounds and when you're chanting, it's hard to listen carefully to what's going on. You guys come down and there's a very dusty, nearly forgotten sort of crypt with a sarcophagus in the center of it. It's pretty narrow. And it has enchanted writing all over it. And there are several sort of like, you might say they look demonic by Western standards, but they are guardian spirits, ferocious guardian spirits who protect the world of the living. And they are kind of idols of these guardian spirits sort of spread throughout the room. Kind of facing this sarcophagus. And then there's the traditional not as big as you might expect for something this ornate. But there are some bare bones, basic little stone chairs built into the floor and benches for mourners, but not the volume you'd expect from someone sort of in this ornate of a sarcophagus. Where are you trying to get to hide? Master Jewel has set up candles all around, including a candle at the base of each of the guardian idols. And it's causing some weird shadows against the wall as it catches their wings and their claws and their arms and their big fanged heads. Sort of behind them in the flickering candlelight. And he's got some more kind of laid on the sarcophagus on what look like little ritual circles or shapes drawn on top of the sarcophagus. And he is chanting and has not turned in your direction. If you're going to hide, where are you trying to hide?
I think I'm rail thin enough to probably hide in the shadow of like a candle holder or something of that nature.
Just what, kind of behind one of the guardian statues?
And I wore dark clothes to this, so hopefully that'll work.
Yeah. So are you going kind of behind one of the guardian statues? Do you have somewhere else you want to go, or am I not getting the picture right? Or
in the shadow of one of the guardian statues for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Tristan, what about you?
Is there any sort of you mentioned these mourners benches? Is there something I can do about them? Are they big enough to hide behind?
Yeah, you can. I think both behind and kind of half under.
Yeah, I'll go under one of those. I'm a small guy, so I'm going under one of those benches for now.
Cool.
Mm. And I have my bow. So I'm readying the bow when I get under the bench.
Awesome. Why don't we? And then Scully. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Sully.
Sorry, I don't know why I said Scully.
Well, the
X-Files fandom.
The truth is out there after all. So yeah, I'd like to kind of nimbly kind of climb up the back of one of these like idol statues and basically kind of like hang on to its head like ready to pounce
one
down.
Not too far from him that has like big wings that kind of give you a good purchase for like bracing your foot and kind of bounding over it. So that's where you guys are. You're sort of behind one on one side, kind of up on one on the other, and then under a bench. And then are you going to wait for Kai to make the entrance before doing anything? He is just chanting, meditating on the candles. And he has a dagger sort of set in the middle of the altar. Or not the altar, the top of the sarcophagus, which, you know, sarcophagi are always spookily like altars. Are you waiting for Kai to make the grand entrance or the noisy entrance?
Yeah, I'm gonna ready my blessing cantrip to cast upon Kai as she comes kind of rushing down the stairs. So
awesome.
Yeah, I want to kind of bless her first strike to be true. Like that's my blessing, because I think the blessing is you have to give it like an action, a meaning, and my blessing is your first strike will find its home.
Awesome.
And I think Tristan will actually be giving this the necromancer the evil eye somehow.
Okay.
I have a hexing cantrip.
All right.
So I'll try to hex him so that that he has a harder time controlling.
Right.
Controlling the dead with his mind.
I spent a lot of time doing miming in when I was a kid, And I always have an element of performance to some of my spells. So I always, right at this moment, I'm sort of pulling an imaginary quiver from my imaginary quiver, an imaginary arrow. I kind of knock it, and there's nothing there, but I like to do it.
Nice.
So yeah, so actually, rather than Kai coming like blundering, rushing down the stairs and like drawing all the attention to herself, I'd like to draw the attention to myself to give
surprise.
to give Kai the element of surprise. So yeah, whilst I'm crouched up, like cradled in the wings of this idol statue, I'd like to really quietly like pull my little lute that I've got like out, and just as there's like a break in the chanting, I want to start playing like the riff from like Tubular Bells. I think.
Nice. Kai, you're standing up there, and it gets to about a minute, and you're ready to step off, and then you hear the lute.
Yeah, it's sort of like I just started walking, and like you hear like the soles of my like fine boots and the chains, like the first step, and like you hear it rattle, like there's no hiding it, and then I hear the lute, and I just like my shoulders slump, and I shake my head. I'm like. And like instead of like what I was planning is just like all right, and then like I just like pick up the pace and just like start jogging down because like that's obviously what's going to happen now. And I was going to come in there and draw the attention to me, but now it's just going to be charge in and strike.
All right, why don't we do a D6 for initiative and just add your dex and tell me what you get.
That's a 1.
Ooh, 6.
Nice.
I rolled a 1.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a 2 total.
all right. So, you have the 6 there, Walther?
No, I have a 1.
You have a 1, and so sorry. You have a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Tristan.
Tristan, sorry. Tristan.
Can I hex this guy without giving away my position?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I will do that then. Then I need to roll some wisdom, I believe.
Yeah.
Just.
Are you going to make this a normal -1 penalty?
I think I'm going to lay on 1 further penalty. Is that a -3 for me?
Yes, that's a -3.
I think so. I believe I read it.
Treat your wisdom as 3 lower.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm trying to roll 9 or under on this hex, on this wisdom.
And what's the specific thing you're specifying as you cast this hex?
Sort of controlling the dead with his mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
To work necromancy.
Yeah.
All right. Roll it. See if you can get a 9 or less.
Yeah. No, that was 16, so that doesn't work.
Do you want to give up magic for the day?
I think I need to give up magic actually, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Otherwise we will get in real trouble.
I
think I want to save my fortune points as well, so yeah. I'll just let that go then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he says something in the chanting, and you don't understand it, but you don't comprehend it, but you understand it is really dark. It interrupts your hex. It's darker than your hex, and it sort of like moves the magic out of you. And let's move to let's start with Kai charging down those stairs as the necromancer is distracted, and he's going to end up acting at the exact same moment you do, Kai. But let's figure out what you do first.
Oh yeah, I'm totally like charging in, and like it's just like, dear cousin, like you cannot do this. As like a short sword first, like just gonna try to strike him down as quickly as possible.
Awesome. Roll.
Cool. All right, reroll selected. I got a 3, so that hits.
Actually,
Wait, no,
you want
to roll high.
Yeah, for attacks, you want to roll high. Sorry.
All right, then I will reroll. I will spend a fortune point
Awesome.
and reroll.
Awesome.
No, I spent that fortune point and got a 5, which is better, but not enough to do anything.
What's your total
Okay.
on that rolling a 5?
The total is an 8.
Yeah.
So
if
I spend a fortune point to help, will that push it over the threshold?
you'll just give another reroll.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do
you
it.
can definitely do it. You can
as you charge down, I'll be like, "Get him, Kai! Get him!" Like that, and it kind of distracts his attention as like he kind of looks up. So yeah.
Hell, children. Go ahead and reroll, Kai.
Go on, Kai.
So I rerolled, got a 14 with my +3, brings it to a 17.
Awesome.
Yay.
Roll your damage.
Yeah.
Short sword.
So 5 + 3 is 8 damage.
He flinches and turns, and you see a hellfire, like a dark red, just start to glow inside the eye sockets. And he's like, "Cursed descendant of my own lover, striking me, how dare you?" And he's going to try to strike you, Kai. You have an 18?
I've got a 19 AC. Oh, wait, but
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, but I was really doing aggressive stance, so I think I actually have a 15 because that drops my AC by 4.
He comes nowhere near that. As he raises his dagger off the sarcophagus and tries to swipe at you with it, as it starts to glow with sort of a red light as well. But it sort of like collides into the side of the sarcophagus. Anything else you want to mention, or?
I was just going to taunt him with great grandmother's husbands. If you had spent less time like dallying in the dark arts and more in fencing, you might have hit that.
Then we go to, I believe, the two other people still in shadow, Sully and Walther.
Uh-huh.
Sully, who's playing the lute, and Walther, who's carefully hiding. What's going on there? Walther, you were about to cast Magic Missile, if I believe correctly. Why don't we start with that?
So out of the shadows, I pull tight. Still nothing seen. But I say to myself, Beatrice, this is guide me, and I let go. And then you see, if there was a third party, you would see this a light that would just go with the arrow, and it illuminates the form of a bow. But again, there's nothing there, and then that missile fires off.
Nice. Okay.
And I roll, what is it, 1d6 plus?
Yeah.
1, and there's no roll associated with intelligence.
No. Missiles always. Sorry, spells just always work.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, only 2 damage, but I'll take it.
So, what does that look like when this magic white bolt of an arrow like slams into the necromancer? Like, does it actually like stick in like an arrow, or what?
When I've historically casted, that is what happens. I don't know with this necromancer. That's up to you, GM.
I think, yeah, it just sort of sticks in, and then he sort of breaks it off, and it starts to spark red in his hands. And it just sort of dissipates into sparks, but he's wobbly on his legs. And I think we are back around to Tristan.
Oh, Sully hasn't had a go yet.
Oh, sorry, Sully. I apologize.
That's all right.
I mispronounce your name and then forget your initiative order. I apologize.
I forgive you. Don't worry, Jim.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, okay. So Sally's like, maybe she like tosses her loot just like aside, reaches like into her pocket, and pulls out the 2 salt shakers she's got, and she says, Wanda 3 Pots told me never to rub salt in someone's wounds. But what does she know? Because she used to oversalt anything anyway. And I'm going to jump off and try to jab these 2 salt shakers into these guys, like this guy's like eye sockets, where he's got his pits of eyes. Like,
roll a d20 and tell me how you do.
Okay. God knows what that is. I rolled an 11.
You hit him with one of them right in the eye socket. As he starts to scream, I'd like you to roll a d4.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit him with a second one too, but you're going to be at -2 for your own armor class.
I rolled a 1 on the d4.
Do you want to hit him with that second one? But you're going to be at your own armor class is going to go down by 2 for a round.
Do it. I got your back.
Yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound of salt, as the saying goes.
All right. So you hit him with the other one as he pauses and shrieks with this sparkling like phantom arrow still in his hand, kind of coming apart in red sparks. Roll that d4 again.
A 2 this time.
As he is screaming, Tristan, what do you do?
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I let go of my arrow. I think
Nice.
It's going to be aimed squarely at his back, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Rolled a 14.
That is, you hit him.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a D6. Oops, sorry. That's a 2.
Now
And
he's about to do. No, sorry, Tristan, I interrupted you.
Yeah, and as soon as I let the arrow go, I then run up from my hiding place, and I'm going to go for the candles.
Awesome.
Mm. Okay. That's it.
And you start to like knock over the candles, or are you grabbing them? What are you doing with them?
I think I'm extinguishing them.
Nice. Okay.
So if I may have to use my cloak to sort of wrap around and then extinguish one by one.
Let's start with Kai. He's going to go at the exact same moment you do, Kai, but you see him start to speak words of magic. What do you do?
I think this is the trying to stop him from speaking words of magic. Like,
Okay.
it's the knowing that that words are part of the sorcerer's power. It's going to be like, just like trying to like choke him and threat, like with like as best I can, just to prevent that from happening.
So you're trying to choke him?
Yeah. So like if we're up close,
Nice. Okay.
yeah, like I think that it's just like getting and trying to like wrestle him, like stopping him from doing the power. Like even if it's not as much damage, the not letting him cast spells is way more important.
Right.
Yeah. If you could wrestle him to the ground and hold his mouth open, I'll tip my bag of silver coins down his throat, and then he won't be able to cast a spell.
Yeah.
So why don't you start with a strength check, and then he'll make a saving throw.
Cool. I got a 15, which is above my strength. So I could
Nailed
spend
that saving throw.
Cool.
Stepping away. I think it's more that he just sort of got himself sort of nimbly with you between you and the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And I need, as he shrieks out these magical words, I'd like you to make a saving throw. One second. Make a saving throw versus spell.
Sure thing.
You want to hit equal to or over? Equal
Nope.
is the roll high.
I did not. I rolled high on the one I should roll low and rolled low on the one I should roll high.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. That's what happens.
How's it going, Ari, with Tristan? That's everybody. Sorry, needs to make that saving throw.
Right.
Versus spell.
Mhm. Yes. That did not go well. I have a -1 as well. So
Yeah, you're still pretty shaken from the from being sick.
yes.
Sully.
I do not.
So do you on a saving phase, do you want to roll under or over?
Yeah, you're going to go over. You want to get equal to or over.
Oh no, I rolled under.
Oh no.
Did I have a modification for that from seeing this guy in the tavern?
I think it's more. No, that's just for dealing with people in the tavern who he kind of poked fun at you.
So just 1d20 over my spell.
Yeah.
Got it.
Equal to or over.
Exactly.
How'd you do it?
I did it.
Oh, yeah, great. Walter, you bring your hands up because you realize what he's doing, but everybody else sort of reacts too slowly. And a shrieking fills the chamber as he begins to try, with his dagger out, to pry the top off the sarcophagus, which is now trembling. Everybody who's not Walther is at -2. You're either going to treat if you're making an ability check, you're going to treat your abilities as 2 lower. If you're rolling a saving throw or attack, you'll just take 2 off your D20 check. But your ears are filled with the shrieking as he trembles and tries to pry the top off the sarcophagus. That still leaves Sully and Walther this round. What are the two of you doing?
I actually feel like what he's doing is throat singing. It may sound like a shrieking, but I actually have been practicing this for quite a bit of time. I think it's why it kind of just washes over me. And while he's doing that, and I do see that it has affected my friends very, very much, so I'm going to take note of that. But while he's shrieking, I'm going to coat my dagger in the essence of death.
Nice.
I don't know if I have enough opportunity to also make an attack on him, but if I do, I will.
I think let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Charge right at him, going straight into the chest. Both hands up, raised, right in.
Roll a D20 and tell me how you do.
That's plus strength. Is that correct?
You will add your strength bonus.
Nothing. No. 11 on a 10. Damn.
An 11? No. You're not making a strength check. You rolled an 11?
Correct.
You're making an attack. So yeah, the 11 is exactly what you need. So attacks and saving throws are high and ability checks are low.
Fantastic.
So 11 is exactly what you want. Why don't you roll a D4 with your dagger?
For the damage. 3?
Yeah, just for the basic damage.
That's the 3 on the dagger.
You got a 3?
Correct.
He got a 2 on his saving throw. Why don't you roll? No, it's he starts to crumble, but he is still prying. Like he starts to just turn dry. But he is still prying to try to open this coffin. And the light in his eyes begins to burn like this weird blue. But like the hand that's not holding the dagger is starting to break away as his feet begin to break away, as his clothes begin to erode. Sully, what do you do?
Well, you know, at the beginning of the game, I said that my latest kind of patron like left a heavy leather-bound tome on the desk.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it kind of works pretty good that maybe this fella, like maybe he was the one that left this big heavy tome like on the table after I was telling stories.
Yeah.
And maybe and I pull this big heavy like book like out of my backpack, and I say, "Hey, you left this," and I'm gonna slam it down on his hand that's trying to open this sarcophagus and trying to crush his hand up with the book.
Make a just a basic attack throw.
Mm-hmm.
You remember you are at -2 because these screams are getting into you.
That's a -2, so I need to roll an 8.
Can I say, I don't know if this works, can I say that I'm helping with that?
You can, but what you'll do is you'll just spend a fortune point.
I'd like to say that the essence of death, you kind of see it, the part of it that's still on the dagger, it kind of has that sheen of oil slick on it, and I know that it's working on the inside.
Right. You can see the physical effects of that essence of death. Roll a d20 and tell me how you do, Sully.
I rolled a 19.
That is amazing. Why don't you throw a d6 down?
Yeah, it's a really big, heavy book. 2 points of literary damage.
Sully, this man is floating in space, falling apart around as he tries to pry the top of the sarcophagus off. How do you destroy what remains of his body?
I think I hold the book up, like with its pages like wide open around his head, and I slam it shut like that.
Oh. And then his head just sort of burst into dust.
Yeah, just like
as the book begins to smolder from the inside.
End of story.
So I'd like to do just a one-sentence epilogue for each of you, or just a 10-second epilogue for each of you. Once this is over and done, what scene do we see you in? And let's start with Kai.
So like the very quick montage is like you see me like obviously taking off like armor and like training clothing, like from doing like combat, like I'm all sweaty and things like that, and like taking stuff out. But then like I'm sitting down at a desk, and like you can see it's like the history of the Willow family. Like I'm reading up on what people actually did and like sitting down there doing that.
Nice. Tristan, what about you?
I need a moment to think, I think.
That's okay.
Go before me. Yep.
But Sully.
Yeah. It's a boisterous, like rowdy night in the tavern. And Sully is putting on the first performance of her one-woman puppet show. The day the Noseless Baron came to town, and the crowd are all sort of smashing their tankards together and loving it.
Yeah, I think you definitely also see children during the day playing Noseless Baron games, putting new Noseless Baron stories together as plays for their parents. And what about Walther?
So Walther, damn, Walter's been his idea's been stolen, but he is in the study of Beatrice. He's at the top of a huge tome he's writing. It says a Tottle and Brass Tongue. He's not actually in the tavern right now, but he's writing a script. It's called The Legend of Beatrice. It features Kai. And he's written in a role for Tristan's demonic friend that because I think he's got tentacles, if I remember correctly, and he feels like Walther does. He feels like those tentacles are going to be excellent for the puppet. So he's got to convince Sully, and he's not sure that she's going to be able to come to the table now that she's a big star, but he's hoping it will.
All right, and Tristan.
And Tristan has been quite shaken about what has happened in these grave chambers. So you see him actually one last time summoning his terrible servant, and then actually letting him go.
Wow. All right. Thank you all. I'm going to stop the broadcast now.